up, YouTube? Back at it again with another video.
Okay, what's up, YouTube? Back at it again with another color theory demonstration. Thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, on the back side, write your first and last name and a block number. So first name, last name, and block number. And then on the front, we are going to make two circles, a small and a large one. So the small one is going to come almost up to the top, but not touching the edge. Trace around it. So you're going to need this cup or any kind of circly thing, a small one. And then a large one next to it also. And these cups I need to keep and not throw them away. So remember, this is like a hands-on color theory note-taking session. So you're working, learning the concept. Well, this is the note. So it's like hands-on. So I'm giving you the information, but you're putting it into practice as you learn it. So usually I do a day where all we do is notes on color and color theory. But this is a test to see how it goes. But I think it's going to be awesome that we're just going to put the color theory into practice. Because when you do things, you remember them better. You guys notice that? That when you do things, you remember better than if someone's up front going, right? So basically all you need for this is the cup to trace your circles, a cup for water. You should have your little practice paper underneath. So then you can do little dabs of color. Your watercolor tray, your watercolor brush, a pencil, watercolor paper. So you have your small circle and your big one. And the first thing we're gonna do is talk about the color wheel. And there is 6 colors that we use in the color wheel. So you're gonna draw a line straight down the middle and then divide each side into 3. So 3 pie wedges. Okay. And this is also the same way that the rainbow works, the color spectrum works. So at the top, I want you to write color wheel. And if you have a test later that asks you about a circular arrangement of hues, what is the correct answer? Color wheel. Hues is just another word for color. Does anybody know the order of the rainbow?
Red, orange, yellow.
Right, red, Roy G. Biv, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. In the rainbow, it's indigo and violet, but we combine them to make purple. So 6. Yeah, so Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. The traditional way is Roy G. Biv, so red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. But we combine indigo and violet because those are both types of purple. Yep. No, that's fine. And do your best, but if it's not perfectly divided, that's okay. So thumbs up if you did that. Good. So for the first one, we're just going to use the colors in our color tray to do it. And you've already done a flat wash, right? Remember we did a flat wash on Tuesday? So you are going to just take this and you're also going to practice painting inside the lines. I like to take my paintbrush. Just this one, you're just going to color it. Now the other one, we're going to actually create colors. But here we're just putting into practice the order of the color wheel. You can turn your paper. I like to turn mine so that the tip of my brush is touching the edge of whatever I'm doing. It makes it easier. And then before I go to orange, what do I need to do with my brush? Dip it back. And then how do I know if it's clean? Test it on the other paper, right? So for this one, you're literally just going to fill it in with a flat wash. And we did the flat wash on Tuesday. So, but you're practicing excellent craftsmanship. So we're just going up to the edge, going around. The next thing after we do color theory is going to be practicing on a few sample letters. So you see how I'm turning my paper so that I can get right up to the edge? So for this one, all we're learning is basically the order of the color wheel. So So do it exactly the same. So I'm doing it. It's this is red, orange, and then yellow. Also, my orange bled a little bit, so I'm just gonna lift off some of that orange because I don't want it to bleed. Some of your guys' trays, can I use this for an example? Okay, so here's what you can do if you have both the red and the orange on these trays look kind of the same. So what we can do, I'm gonna put this under here so it's easy for you to see. We can take some of, and this is sort of like jumping ahead, so you guys are actually gonna be like super duper color theories. If I have this and it looks red, and I really want it to look more orange, what would I add? Yellow, right. So, rinse out my brush so I don't get the red in the yellow. Then I can test it, make sure it's good, it is. Then I'm gonna add, and I still think it could use a little bit more yellow, so I'm gonna, and actually, how about this? Let me show you an even better way. Instead of starting with the red, start with the yellow first. It's okay. It doesn't really matter, but a shortcut would be to start with the yellow and then just get a little dab of the red, just a tiny, tiny dab, and it would mix in yellow a little bit easier. Like that. If you didn't want to worry about colors blending, you could do all the primary colors first, and then after they dry, do the secondary colors. You know what I'm saying? And again, if you're having a hard time getting the neat edge, then just turn your paper. What's after yellow? Green. So green is... So today we're doing color theory, and then on Monday we're gonna take a couple of our letters that we are using on our real one, our final one, and practicing how we want to use the color theory and our color techniques that we learned. Here's something else, is that before I rinse off my brush, I take some of the extra paint and dab it on the paper so it doesn't get my water as dirty. What's after green? Blue. When I teach little kids and I'm teaching them about the color wheel, I say, hey, how many of you guys have met my friend Roy? And they'll be like, yeah. Yeah, so I'll say like, who met my friend Roy before? And they'll be like, I don't know. I'm like, remember he's like very colorful. He likes to go out after it rains. He's a rainbow. Oh. Okay, what's my last one after blue? Purple. And what do we call this when all we're doing is just coloring it in, but we're not doing anything fancy? Yes, flat wash. Excellent. Yeah, that works for me. Okay, so basically here you have learned about the color wheel and you got to try it out. We basically made our own color by number, right? Okay. How many people are almost done with the color wheel? Okay, good. Now, here's the next part that, again, would be in notes, but we are going to do it. So, does anybody already know what are the primary colors? Red, blue, and yellow. Red, blue, and yellow. Now, let me explain to you why they're the primary colors. Primary means first, right? Now, let me have everyone listen, okay? I need all the listening ears. Still finishing your color wheel. You can continue working on it, but I want you all to listen. So primary is the first colors. Primary means first. You cannot create primary colors. You can't take two colors and mix them together and make red. You can't take two colors and mix them together to make yellow, and you can't take two colors together to make blue. So if you wanted blue, you would have to go find minerals that are blue, like cobalt or something like that, grind it up and turn it into paint. So, and blue has actually been a very expensive color, especially back in the old days, because it was really hard to get. But you could, yes. But you have to find those colors. You cannot make them. So the primary ones are red, yellow, and blue. Do you see how they're separate? They're separated. So here, all I want you to do is write down primary, and then you're just gonna make a little key. So you're just gonna make a little swatch of red. I think I'm gonna make mine a little lighter though, so you can actually tell that it's red. Little swatch for red, then rinse off your brush, and then do yellow. So keep them in order that they are on the color wheel. Test it out on your paper, make sure it's good. And then what was my other primary? Blue. Yep, and yellow. Yep. So so keep them in the order that they are in on the color wheel. And I'm making mine a little lighter so I can actually see what I'm doing. So about like that, okay? But do it kind of small because we have two other color schemes that we're gonna do. Yes. Indigo is a kind of purple. Yeah. I actually don't know. Well, indigo is closer to the blue because on the color wheel. So he's asking where would indigo go? And if we were, and this is not part of, like, you don't have to know this, but red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So indigo would be closer to the blue. So it would be like a blue purple, and violet would be more like a red. Does that make sense? Thumbs up if you already made your little color swatches for primary colors. The secondary colors, and I'll talk about it before I do it, so if you're still catching up, don't worry, just keep on working until you get caught up to this. Secondary colors, what word is in the word secondary? Second, right? So if the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue, the next ones, the second ones are, yes, exactly. So orange, green, and purple. Now, can you make a secondary color? Yes. So listen, I have been an artist for a very, very long time, and I still use a color wheel every time that I paint. Sometimes I just draw it in pencil, but I'm at least thinking of it. So it's a cheat sheet. It's a map for color mixing, okay? So if I don't remember how to make orange, how could I use the color wheel to remind me? Yes, see what's on either side, right? So pink without white is, you would just use water to thin it down, because if you have white paper. So we're gonna write down secondary. And then we are not gonna use the pre-made colors here. We're gonna make our own, okay? Because we have to have this power. We have to have the power. So I'm gonna turn my lid like this, and you can too, and it might help you to put some white paper underneath it so you can see if you have a clear lid, okay? So what is the first one in between red and yellow? Orange, right? So if I'm gonna make orange, I think I'll start with my yellow because it's a lighter, less intense color. And then what do I have to add to it? Red. And do I need a lot of red or just a little bit? Right, just a little bit, because red is a very intense color, right? And check it here first. So just a little tiny, like, it's better to have too little and then add some more. So I'm gonna get rid of a lot of this. I think I'm even gonna go like this. And I feel like is that a pretty good, let's test it on here. I feel like I need some more yellow in there. What do you think? Yellow and red. And you can tell because you use your Cheater Pants cheat sheet, right? And if you look in between, so I added a little bit more, right? And I think I need a little bit more. I put mine down and then I thought it looks a little bit too yellow, so I added a little bit more. There, that's pretty good. When I was little, I thought that hot dogs had to have mustard because I always saw it on like the billboards and advertisements, but I didn't like mustard. So I put the mustard on first and then ketchup on top so that I didn't have to see it. Now I like mustard, but I didn't when I was little. Okay, so So I made my orange. What's my next secondary color? Green. And how do I make that? Yeah, blue and yeah. So which one is more intense, the yellow or the blue? Yes, exactly. So I'm going to start with the less intense color, which is my yellow, right? Because the blue, couldn't overpower. So I just want to get that yellow down first. And then wipe off your extra on your, you know what? When I taught elementary school, I also had a teeny tiny budget. And I didn't have enough money to buy all the colors, so I only bought primary and then black and white. Oh, you know what I totally did? I'm totally gonna redo that because I accidentally added green instead. I was like, oh, it's lime green. That's because I didn't put the right. So yellow, and then I have to add a little bit of blue. But yeah, so I had the kids make their own colors. So by the time they were done with first grade, they could mix colors better than most adults. Yeah, they could even make brown. We're gonna watch brown. Okay, that's a pretty nice green. What do you think? If we have time, we'll make brown today. Yellow first because it is a lighter color. And the blue is a stronger, more intense color. So we add just a touch of blue. So now I've got my green. And then what's my last one? Purple. What do I use to make purple? Right. Now this is a little harder to know, or which one is more intense? The red? Who thinks that the red is more intense? Who thinks the blue is more intense? Should we we'll test it. Let's do a test. We'll do both. So if we start with the blue, there's blue. And then we're gonna make another different pile with the red. Now, if you look at it right now, which one looks darker? The blue. So I'm guessing that's the case, but they're pretty close, right? Like their intensity is pretty close. So now I'm gonna take a little drop of red, and add it to the blue and see how that works out. Yeah. And you're probably going to need a little bit of, it's kind of nice. So that's sort of and we're looking for an in-between, and then we're going to add a little bit of blue to the red. So did you see how much the blue changed the red? Yeah, that's okay. So this is all, so the good thing about this is we are learning through trying it out how color works, okay? So when I added just a drop of blue to the red, it overpowered the red. But a drop of red in the blue didn't really change it much. So that means that the blue is a stronger, more intense color. So that means we are gonna start with the red, the lighter color first. So you're gonna start with the red. Probably beautiful, isn't it? Oh, that's nice. That looks like grape juice. Oh, so let's see, maroon. Oh yeah. So that's like very good. Yes. Okay, so I got my red. I'm gonna take just a tiny drop of the blue. Just a little tiny drop of the blue. And look at that miniature tiny drop of blue made purple. And I'm just gonna test it here to make sure, but that's good. It's like a grape juice. So for the purple, you start with red first. So now I've got my primary and my secondary colors. Okay, there's one other one that we're gonna talk about, and it is in between. So the secondary is in between the primary, right? So now we're gonna say tertiary, Tertiary. I'll go like this. Tertiary. Right? It doesn't look how you would think it is, but that's how you spell it. Tertiary, tertiary. So if you think about it this way, we haven't made a tertiary yet, but if we have red, yellow, blue, those are primary. In between those are the secondary. if you combine a little bit of the primary and a little bit of the secondary, you have tertiary. So these are the really beautiful colors that you love, okay? So the colors that you love often are tertiary. So for instance, red and orange would make what? If you look at the crayons, like if you look at Crayola crayons, if there's something that's like a red orange, what is it called? Red orange. And then you might have an orange red if it's more orange than red, right? So the way that we make them is we take, again, the lighter color. So between red and orange, which one's lighter? Orange. So we're gonna take, and you can go ahead and use the regular orange if you want, or you can use your secondary one that you made. So I got my orange, and then I'm gonna take just the teeny tiny bit. Remember to wipe off your brush. I like to wipe it off, then rinse it. And then I'm gonna get just a teeny drop of red, not much, and I'm gonna add it to that. And now I have a red orange. Okay. So it's gonna have 6 of them, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 6 tertiaries. So if I take orange and yellow, what do I end up with?
Yellow or orange.
Yes. And so which one is lighter? Which? The yellow. So I'm gonna start with the yellow. So many colors. And then what do I add to the yellow? Yes, just a teeny tiny bit of orange. Just a tiny dab. And it's gonna make a yellow orange. Okay? Okay, so in between yellow and orange, we got that one. What's in between yellow and green? Yellow, green. Which, yes, exactly, which is lime, right? So which one is lighter, the green or the yellow? Yellow. And if your tray starts getting too full of colors, you can kind of clean it off a little bit.
So we'll be on yellow, green, now, right?
Yes, and that is one of my favorite colors. It doesn't have to be your favorite, but it is one of mine. So we start with the lighter color, which is the yellow, and then we add just a tiny bit of green, right? Just a teeny bit. Yeah, that's good. So then we mix just a tiny bit of green in there, and it makes a beautiful lime green, right? And if you want it more light, I have more yellow, and if you want it more green, I have more green. Look at that pretty color. So we did the yellow and the green. What's the next one? Green, blue. Now, which one is darker? They're kind of wouldn't you say they're about the same, the green and the blue? So I would say go with your heart on that one. So whichever one you want to start with, but don't use the lime green, you use the straight green, okay? And then just a tiny dab of blue. And depending how much of the blue you put in, it could end up being sort of like a forest green or more like a aqua green. Or a teal. Okay. Those look good. Did you do the blue green yet? Yep, blue green is next. Yep, and then blue purple. So again, blue and purple are pretty much the same amount of intensity, so follow your heart. So like you were asking, how do you make indigo, right? So the indigo would be more of a bluish purple. Turquoise is also one of my favorites. Yeah, I kind of got a turquoise, teal-y type. So blue, and then a little bit of purple. Yep. Blue and purple. Blue and purple is sort of like, I don't know, what's that color? It makes me have like Kool-Aid, raspberry Kool-Aid or something. Well, raspberry is not, it's like a bluish color. No, but raspberry Kool-Aid is. Oh, because it's blue raspberry. That makes sense. And then I have one more, which is my last one. No, in between red and purple is. Okay, so red is lighter, so I start with the red and then I just add a tiny bit of blue. I mean, oh, I did that wrong. Reverse, edit out, I'm editing that out.
Don't edit out now.
Raw footage. So now that I'm gonna be helped by my students because I can't remember what I'm doing, red, and then what do I gotta add? Purple. And I
Purple is red. Purple.
Yes, this is purple. I'm positive. 3 times later, I've got it. So this is another kind of purple, but it's more red now, right? Yeah. Aren't those tertiary colors beautiful? Tertiary. So those are our tertiary colors.
Cyan.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is like a cyan. Cyan? Okay. All right, let me have your attention, your eyeballs, your ears. Are you ready? Okay. So listen. Do you guys know which ones are neutrals? Okay. So
Black, white,
yes. And one more that's on here. Yes, brown. Wherever you can fit it, I can fit mine here. I want you to write down neutrals. We are just gonna use them. Fit them wherever you want. So anything that's on the color wheel, any of these that we've done so far, those are a color, and another word for it is a hue. The neutrals are not actually on the color wheel. White in paint is the absence of color. Okay, so you could have white be a neutral, but it would really just be doing this. There, that's my white. Okay, then the other ones are made by mixing all of the colors. Okay, now I am not gonna make you make a black yet, but we will probably at some point. But one neutral is black, and black is all the colors mixed together. So there's just black. I just used the black. But if you took blue and then added in a couple other things, you would end up with black or brown. Now gray is also a neutral. How would you make a gray? Right, and if we don't have white, what do we use? Just a little bit of water, right? And then the other neutral is a brown. You don't have a brown? Okay, well that is actually kind of good because I'll show you how to make brown. Which again, for me, what's that? I'm gonna show you how to make brown, and it's one of my favorite things to know how to do. It seems like a magic trick to me. If you know how to make brown, you can literally make any skin tone color. So if you have people on your painting, you would know how to use it. Or if you were trying to make anything with a neutral color, to make brown, the way I do it is I start with yellow. Well, you could use brown, but some people don't have brown. So I've got my yellow. Now, if it's a combination of all the colors, it's a combination of all the primary colors, okay? So I'm gonna add just a tiny, tiny bit of red. And then a tiny, tiny bit of blue. And the trick is, and it takes quite a bit of kind of testing things out, but the trick is to find out what the good proportions are for it. Just a teeny tiny bit of the blue. And then depending, if it's too much yellow, it might look like baby poop. If it's too much blue, it might look like, have like a kind of green tint. This is actually, to me, pretty good. I'm gonna do another, that's a good brown, isn't it? So is it too yellow then? It has a little bit of a green tint to it, doesn't it? It has a little bit of a green tint, so that means, what's opposite of green here on the color wheel? Red. So if it's a little too green right now, I could add just a tiny bit more red and it will balance it out. Is that better? So these are all different versions of brown. So this one is a brown from my tray. This is all the primary colors, but mostly yellow with a touch of each. But then I thought it looked a little bit too green, so I added a little bit more red to it. Okay, so that's our neutrals. Neutrals are a combination of all the colors or a lack of all the colors. Okay, now on here, go like this. Make like you're making a color wheel. So split this into 6 again. Draw another circle in the middle, but don't erase it, okay? Okay. Huh? Yes. This is our last thing for today. Now, next to each line, we're gonna go like this. This is gonna be our tertiary colors. So on the outside, just do a line next to each one. Then you can use the cheater method of coloring in the big sections in the correct order. So red, and then the next small one is going to be the tertiary. I almost am ready to admit that I'm being extra. Do I feel like I'm being extra right now? Well, but look at how cool this is going to look. I mean, sometimes I am extra. Sometimes I got to embrace my extraness. Like this current moment. No, look at this. This is going to be beautiful. So, well, yellow. Okay, this is going to be awesome, you guys. I'm embracing this extraness. Don't you think extra is good sometimes? Green, blue. And then what goes in between those? Tertiary, yes. So once you fill in these, you know what this, have you guys ever seen that? What is that game where you have to like remember colors and stuff? It's like it's a game, you hold on to it and it says colors that light up and then you have to copy them. Simon Says, yes. Doesn't it look like Simon Says? Just Simon? Well, that means you gotta change your water. Then we do our little middle colors. Don't get gray hairs. And then you're gonna fill in these. Oh yes, this is gonna be wonderful, you guys. We are geniuses. All of us, we're geniuses. It is Simon Says, look at that. So now you should be pretty comfortable making little tertiary colors. So fill in this little gaps with tertiary. Oh, that looks beautiful. You guys, I am in love with this. Thank you for being my guinea pigs. No, I'm in love with yours. I'm looking at them. They look great. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. look at how cool this looks. Yours also does. I see it right now. All right, now I gotta do, what do I gotta do next? Yellow. I got my, oh, I already have some lime green here, so I'm just gonna use it. If you already have some lime green left or lime, you know, some tertiary colors left, you can use them. I don't know what it is. So green and blue. So you guys should be, I'm gonna take a little bit of this blue over here. I feel like that needs a little bit more blue, so I'm gonna add some more blue. Yeah, I added more blue. So if you do it and you realize it's not the right color, just, you know, add a little bit more and then carry on. I still think that needs more blue, doesn't it? It's too green. Too green. I know, but look at this. And then we're gonna, wait till you see. It's gonna be amazing what we do. It's gonna be amazing. The last thing we're gonna do, so we've got our primary, our secondary, and our tertiary colors in there now. But I'm gonna show you how to take complementary colors, which are the colors on the opposite side of the color wheel, to make neutrals. So if I take, has anybody ever heard that before? Like, did you know that already? Yes? Okay. Oh, are you saying the S word? Thank you, because that would be hurtful. Okay, so what we're gonna do is if we have opposite colors, they create a neutral. So if you take red and you add a little bit of green, it starts to become a neutral, like a brown or a black, right? So if I take my red, fill it in here, but I add in a little bit of green because it's the opposite. Do you see what I mean by opposite? Tell me thumbs up if you see that it's opposite. So this is red and green. It creates this kind of neutral color, which would be like a gamecocks, right? Sort of a maroony color. On the other side, I would start with green and add what? What's the opposite of green? Red. So that would be my green and red. That's my complementary colors. So they become a neutral when you blend them. So now, did you see how it looks black? Right? So, right, so you get different kinds of neutrals depending on what you mix, right? So now I'm gonna do yellow and its complement. So what is the opposite of yellow? Look on the color wheel, what's across from it? Purple, right? So I'm gonna take just a teeny tiny bit of purple. And that is my neutral that's made out of those two. Now I'm going to take the purple, and what's the opposite or the complement of that? Yellow. So it's the same thing but opposite, right? So I'm going to take my purple, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow. Okay, what's my last set of complementary colors? Orange and blue. So we're gonna start with orange and add just a tiny touch of blue, right? This makes kind of a, what would you call that? Yeah. Like brown, right? Okay. And then if we take, what's our last option? We did orange plus blue, now we gotta do blue plus orange. So we take the blue, and this is one of my favorite color tricks, is if you take the blue and you add a little bit of orange, it makes it look like a navy blue. Where did my blue go? Oh, it's right here. Or just like a deeper blue. So it neutralizes it a little bit. So you have a lot of power over what kind of colors you use if you know how to color mix. Okay, so if you have your color wheel with the primary and secondary colors on it, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, you have your primaries, red, yellow, blue, secondary, orange, green, and purple, and then your tertiaries, which are all the in-between ones in order. Then you have your neutrals, white, black, gray, and brown. I have these 2 extra ones because I made them, so that's just examples for you. And then here, you're gonna make the color wheel like I did. So you're gonna put your primary, secondary, tertiaries, and in the middle, make your neutrals by using the complementary colors or the opposites. So you're gonna blend the opposite and make a neutral there, and then you are done for this particular portion of color theory. On Monday, we're gonna use this to practice making letters. That's it. Bye, guys.
For another banger.
Thank you for joining us. Anything else we need to say before we end it? All right. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this. Come join us again soon.